Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Paul. In this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to integrate SwiperJS in your website or web application. Alright, SwiperJS is a library for creating a modern swiper in your web application. So in this tutorial, we're going to be integrating the SwiperJS, and as you can see, this is the SwiperJS. But and this is a card effect. I can see it's a very cool library for creating swiper. You can also swipe it back, swipe it back, swipe it back, swipe it back. Alright, and I'm going to be showing you how to use the API to interact with it with external elements like all these buttons like this, and you can also scroll to an element, scroll next, and we're going to be using different effects. I'm going to be using the slide effect. I'm going to be showing you how to use the slide effect and other stuff. And it can also scroll by itself. If I should leave it for like 4 seconds, it's going to scroll by itself. It's going to scroll. Okay, it's going to swipe. It's going to swipe by itself. Think. And I'm also going to be showing you how to do the the hash navigation. I'm going to be showing you how to do hash navigation. I'm expecting it to scroll by itself. Okay, if it's not scrolling by itself, okay, well, I'm going to be showing you how to scroll by itself, how to do the auto scroll. I can see the hash here was changed from slide 1 to slide 2. So if I click it again, it's going to change. It has changed from slide 2 to normal hash now. If I change it back, slide 2, slide 1, slide 2, slide. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing in this tutorial. Before we continue, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, please go on and subscribe. Okay, let's go to the full tutorial. Okay, guys, so this is the SwiperJS documentation website for Java to download the SwiperJS and other stuffs. So this is just the like getting started and the basic documentation on this page. Okay, so if you want to install the SwiperJS, just come here, copy this npm install swiper and paste it on the command line. If you have Node.js installed, and it's going to be installed, and after it has been installed, you get like inside the installation folder of the swiper, you get all this bunch of stuffs installed. Okay, after installing, then you can now go on and include it in our JavaScript. So all this stuff are for maybe you are using any framework like React, Vue, and other frameworks that are supported, Angular and other stuff. So these are for the documentation or do something. But for the core and the one that we are using in this tutorial, so this is the one that we are going to be considering, this and this. Okay, so after downloading it, so this is the project folder, and this is the what I installed, the SwiperJS that I've installed. So I'm just interested in 2 files out of all these bunch of files. So this Swiper bundle domain.js and Swiper bundle to login.css. After that, I just created a SwiperJS folder here and I put it inside the SwiperJS folder. Okay. Now, after that, let's go to the code. Now, after that, you have just move that up a bit. So I've included it in the project. So I've included the link to the JavaScript and the CSS also. Okay. So then you can now just come here and copy this layout, this basic Swiper layout. So if you are going to do anything with Swiper, it must have this layout. It must have the Swiper wrapper and the Swiper slide class, and also the Swiper pagination, then the Swiper button previous. This can be changed. You can change this to anything, any class you want. And Swiper, this one too, you can also change it to any class you want, and this one also. But this Swiper slide is, it can be changed. You can't change it to anything. And this Swiper wrapper also. The Swiper, you can also change this to anything you like. Okay, now let's go to the code and let's just paste this stuff here. Okay, let's paste it here. And let's just give it a little bit of formatting and save it. And okay, my browser, the stuff is going to be saving by itself because I'm using live server. Okay, so if I click on save here, so it's just going to go on to the browser and save. And as of now, it has initialized by itself. I will show you what initialized it. And you can decide to write custom CSS for the Swiper just to suit your taste. Okay, so you can just come here and copy all these ones, but I've already included it in the project. So now let's go to the JavaScript file now. Inside the JavaScript file, what I just did is was I initialized the SwiperJS, the Swiper. To initialize it, just say declare the variable, then new Swiper, then include the Swiper container that you want to initialize this Swiper container. You can change it to anything you like. The Swiper 1. Swiper 1. You can change it to anything you like. So it's going to be changed. And now what I just did here, what I enabled are just some basic stuff, like the direction, the pagination, the navigation. Okay, so those are just what I enabled there, and that is why it's doing all this stuff. But I'm going to fix that by putting it inside its own container. So I've written CSS for a div with class container. With a div for a div with class container. Okay, now we should go to the browser. I can see it has. It's now I think it's still giving the error. Why? Okay, because I changed the class of the CSS to Swiper1, which is not in the CSS. Okay, so let's go to the CSS and let's just change this to let's change this to Swiper1. Change this also to Swiper1 and save it. And let's go to the browser and check. Okay. Alright. Maybe we are still getting an error. Let's just follow this. Let's see. Okay. Still getting the error. Okay. So let's possibly error. Now let's just try to remove Swiper 1. I change it back to Swiper. And change this one also to Swiper. Because I think that's a bug, but I won't be fixing that this tutorial. Okay, so I've changed it back to Swiper. Now it's now, I can see our Swiper has been initialized. Our Swiper has been initialized. Now the reason why is not after clicking on this button again, after reaching the end, it's not going back to the first slide because the loop is false. The parameter loop is false. I'm going to explain it just in a moment. Okay, now you can decide to change the direction of the stuff to horizontal, which we are interested in. Horizontal, which we are going to be using. So the horizontal. Alright. So if you want it to go back to the first slide after slide after clicking this forward button, we are going to enable the loop. We are going to set the loop to 2. Okay, now let's go to, alright. So when we click it, it's going to go back to the first slide. So that's that. Okay, now let's check the parameters that we can pass into the SwiperJS. Now there's a very important parameter that you can pass in, which is the effect. So the default effect is swipe or slide. The default effect is slide. Okay, now you can just enable card or other stuff, but before we do that, let's try to make our card look a little bit cool, and we are going to be including all these images inside it. Alright, so img src images or r0, then style with 100%. Okay, so I'm just going to go on and include all the images inside it. Okay, so I've included the images inside it. So I've included all the images inside the Swiper. Now we can just save all and take a look at our Swiper at the front end. Okay, so this is our Swiper now. These are all the images there. The cool images. Okay, alright. So you can decide to include change the effects of the Swiper to cards. Let's change it to cards, and let's see what's going to happen. Let's go to the page. I can see the stuff has changed now. So yeah, okay, so that's cards effect, and it's cover flow. It's cover flow effect. It's cover flow effect. So that's cover flow. The cover flow effect will show more if I should enable the slide per view. There's another parameter which is slide per view. You can change the slide per view. Let's say I want to change it to 3. So this is where the cover flow effect is going to show. So this is where you are going to see the effect of the cover flow very well. Okay, so that's slide per view. You can also set the slide per view. So I can see it is 3 slides per view. Okay, so that's that. And there's another one which is cube. Let's save it. And right, so cube. So this is cube. So this is cube effect. That's it. So that's cube effect. So that's cube effect. Okay. So you can decide to disable this the forward clicking and the sliding forward and back. You can decide to disable it. So if you disable it now, so if you try to click on this, it will not go front again, and it will not go back again. And if we try to use our mouse to slide it, it will not slide. So that's if you want to disable that. And let's just change this to slide or swipe. So swipe. Okay, now allow touch move is you will not be able to use the mouse to swipe it, but you'll be able to use all these ones. Okay, I think we enable the touch move. Okay, yeah, false. Okay, let's save it. And okay, you'll not be able to use the mouse to move it, but you'll be able to use all these ones. So that's allow touch move. And you can decide to set the init because it's initialized by itself automatically. You can decide to disable the automatic the self initialization, and you can also set the initial slide, but it is 0 index. So the index 0 is for the slide 1 and index 3 is for the slide 4. And you can decide to enable the loop I will talk about here. Let me just remove it from here also. And the pagination is just for the pagination, which is this, all these things that you're looking at here, Alright, all these ones that are looking at here. So those are the paginations. Okay, so those are the paginations. Let me just enable this stuff back. Okay, I'll enable it. So this paginations stuff. Alright, so that's the pagination. So you can create your own custom pagination. You can create your own custom pagination and include it here, and include the custom pagination here. Okay, now the navigation, which are these navigation, which are these buttons here, and this button, these two back and forth button. So those are the navigation buttons. You can create your own navigation button also and give it a custom. You can change the class name to anything you like, and just make sure the class name, the next button class name match the next element class name here, and the previous match the one here. Okay, now the scroll bar is the let me just enable the scroll bar. Okay, this is the scroll bar, and let me just uncomment it. Save it to the browser. Right, so the scroll bar is the one that is here, this thing here. So that's the scroll bar. So that's the scroll bar. You can see this scroll bar here. So that's the scroll bar. You can disable it, and also you can remove it and disable it. There's also preload images if you want the image to be preloaded, or you don't want the image to be preloaded. Let's just test. Let's check what the preload does. Okay, if all these images are on another domain and we are on the server, so it will slide to the next image. It will load it will not load until we slide to the image. It's because this is on the current server and it's on the local server. That's the reason why it is very fast. Okay, so prevent clicks is for when you wrap your swiper slide with links. If you wrap it with the href link, if you have the a tag, you wrap it with the a tag. So and you don't want the link to be clicked when you are sliding the swiper. Then you are going to enable this prevent click too. Okay, sniper view, we've talked about that. The space between, so the space between the slides, the speed, if you want to center the slide, let's try to center the slide and change. It will work by the sniper view. Okay, so as you can see, center slide. Let's try to change to false and see the effect. Okay. Center slide bound also. This also, you can also set this also, center slide bound. Okay. And let's just set the space between 220 and see what's going to happen. Okay. Center slides. Okay, alright, as you can see, this is the first slide here at the center. This is the first slide here at the center. So because we enable loop, that's the reason why we are seeing the last slide at the space. Okay, alright, as you can see, this is the effect of the center slide. And the center slide bound, if you set it to true, there won't be space at the end of the slide here, so it will just push everything here. Okay, so those are the effect of those stuff. And one of the most important parameters is breakpoints. Maybe you want to do some stuffs. Maybe you want to do some stuff when the browser is at different screen size, maybe 320, 480, 640. You can decide to change the space between. You can try to change it to maybe you don't want the slide to be centered, or you want the slide to be centered at 320, or you want to remove some effects at a certain screen width. You can use this breakpoint to set it. Okay, so that is that. And again, there are properties that you can use with Swiper. You can check if the Swiper is at the beginning. Okay, but so before we do this property, I would just like to attach an event. You can also attach event to Swiper. So let's say Swiper dot on then let's say on slide change. We are attaching an event to it on slide change. Then arrow function. I love using arrow function. Okay. So on slide change, I want to check. I'm going to use console.log. You see, if it is in beginning, Swiper dot is beginning, so it's going to return true or false. And Swiper dot is end. And you can also get the slides also by just calling the Swiper dot slides. Okay, now let's save it and let's check it in the browser. And I'm just going to bring up the console now. So it's waiting for the onSlide change. Now, if the 32.jpg is not defined, 32.png, okay, 32.png, let's see it. Okay, now if we should slide to the next one now, I can see false. The stuff here is like, okay, let's just try to, okay, so I'm just going to set the stuff here. Beginning, send, and Swiper of style, just to indicate it for you. Okay, let's save it and let's go back and check. Okay, so I should go to the next one. Say Swiper.is beginning false, is end false. So I should go back now. Is beginning true, is end false. You can see then Swiper.slides and array. So all of them, these are all the slides. So if you want to perform any actions on the slide, you want to perform any actions on the slide, so this you can actually do it with this. Okay, so if we should go to the, let's say reach the end of the let's try to reach the end of the slide. All right, so Swiper.is end to. Okay, so that is that. And there are also some methods now, but to do this, to use this method, we have to include buttons at the top here. Let's just close our console now because we are done with console. I'm going to include some external button here that we can use to interact with the slide, with the swiper. Okay, so the buttons are going to be included there. So let me just copy the styles of the, let me include the buttons and the styles here just in a moment. Okay, so I've copied the buttons to the I've included the buttons and the button container. So we'll be doing the slide to number 4, and the next we can decide to change this one to slide to any stuff now. Okay, so then now let's check it out in the browser. Just check them out. Okay, so these are just the default buttons that is there. So these are just the default buttons that is there. So I didn't style it. I didn't give it a much style. Okay. Okay, so we just get this previous, next, and slide to. Okay, so we are going to use them as, say, document dot query selector dot previous dot on click also have a function. Okay, so I'm going to say swiper dot slide previous, and you can just go on and copy this for the next button also. Slide, and it's going to be slide next, swiper dot slide next. So these are the methods that you can use to work with the SwiperJS with an external element. This is slide to. Then I'm going to say slide to. Then the first parameter here is going to be the index. Which index? Index 3. as, because it is 0 index, it starts from 0. So the index 3 is the 4th item. Okay, then the speed, let's say 400. Let's say 400. Okay. Alright, so let's save it and go to the browser. Now, if I should click on all this button now, you see it's going to slide next. The Swiper is going to slide next, slide next, slide next, slide next, slide next. As you click on the big previous here, it's going to slide backward, slide next, slide next. I can also slide to, you can see. So you can slide to, I can see it is very fast. So you can slide to number 4. Slide to number 4. Okay. So that is the methods, and also you can attach an event. Right. So this is an event that I attached here on slide change that we use to check for the beginning is end slide. And there are also some other cool events that before init, if you want to do anything before initialization of the SwiperJS, click on which end, on which beginning, on slide change, which is the one that we did here on slide change. Okay, so if you want to attach the on which end event or which beginning event, so you can also do this. And I want to talk about a very important aspect, which is the last thing we're going to be talking about, the hash routing. So if we should go to the documentation here, we come to documentation and go to the API documentation. Okay, so let me just pull down the bottom here. Hash routing. Alright, so if you want to include parallax also, you can include parallax here. So I'm still going to explain the stuff in this place here. Hash routing. Oops, sorry. Let's close it. Okay, the hash navigation. Alright, so this is the hash navigation here. So to do the hash navigation, you have to set the hash navigation to 2. This hash navigation, let's copy it and include it in our project. So I'm going to come up here and include it and set it to 2. Okay, then we will now include the data hash in all the slides, the data hash in all the slides. So we should include it in all the slides. I'm just going to include it in just 3 slides. Data hash 1, hash 2, and hash 3. So let's say this one is 2 and this one is 3. This one is 3. Okay, let's save all. What the hash routing enables you to do is, like if you are creating a custom slider, maybe a slider with a full page. So you are creating a slider with a full page, and you don't want like you want the user to be able to go back to the, so the hash routing will enable the user to go back to the current slide after reloading the page, and it's going to set the history, the browser history. It will set the browser history in case if the user navigate to another page, and if the user should click on back button, it will go back to the to the uh, to the hash route, to the hash URL of the last slide of the swiper. So that is useful in a maybe in a custom web application. So if I should click on next now, as you can see, it has changed. It has uh, included the hash route here. It has included the hash route here. So I click on back. As you can see, it has changed back to one, slide 2, and slide 3. Okay, so that's hash routing. That's hash routing. So there's no hash here. I didn't include the hash there. So you can use the hash routing in a custom web application. Alright, so let me just talk about what we are looking at here. So this is the Swiper API documentation. So there are a lot of other parameters that you can pass in into the Swiper. There are a lot. You just come to the Swiper API here. You see a lot of stuff that you can pass in, that you can enable. So just go on and play with most of them, and other methods too that you can do. You can get the active index. You can get the you can do some things like check if the allow slide next is enabled, and allow touch move, other stuff. Check other check other stuff too. This one is to check the mouse events of the stuff. Alright, and the methods too. There are also methods too. So if you want it to change direction, for maybe from vertical to horizontal, and if you want to destroy the swapper, you can do that. Okay, so you can decide to if you want to destroy the swiper instance, you can call you can use the destroy method, detach events, detach all the event listener, disable init. If you want to initialize the swiper manually, so you can use that, and other stuff to other you can use other stuff to slide the reset, slide previous, slide to. You can do a lot of stuff, So just come here, and there are other stuff and the events. These are all the events that Swiper does on. So these are all the cool events that you can use on Swiper. Touch move on other stuff, slide move. You can use this to create custom SwiperJS. You can use it to customize your SwiperJS, and also the navigation. Also, these are all the navigation stuff. So then you come here, the scroll bar, autoplay. There is autoplay here. If you want the swiper to be swiping by itself, just set the autoplay. Just set the autoplay. Just set the autoplay parameter here. Just set the autoplay parameter. Just set the autoplay parameter, and we should see now it's going to slide by itself automatically. As you can see, it's now sliding by itself automatically. Okay, so that's that. And there's also free mode. The free mode enable mode functionality, object free, and other stuff. And grid, if you want to use grid, and you can check out all these stuffs. This like for customizing this, and the history navigation, history navigation, if you want it to use the history navigation, that it will all the stuff, all the navigation will be inserted into the history. So it's like the data hash, but this one uses the history. So you can use the back button here to navigate to the previous slide, and this one to navigate to the next slide. So that's the usefulness of the history navigation, and other stuff like controller stuff too. You can do SwiperJS. Okay, so this is how to integrate SwiperJS in your web application. And if you like this tutorial, just give it a thumb up, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, it encourages me to do more. Okay, and if you don't like this video, just give it a thumb down and tell me the reason why you don't like it. Okay, see you in the next tutorial.